Hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again today on the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a few chapters again from our wonderful book, Awareness, the Perils and Opportunities of Reality by Anthony De Mello. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Today I'll be reading 3 chapters, 24 to 26. Chapter 24 is entitled, Obstacles to Happiness. Obstacles to Happiness. What I'm about to say will sound a bit pompous, but it's true. What is coming could be the most important minutes in your lives. If you could grasp this, you'd hit upon the secret of awakening. You would be happy forever. You would never be unhappy again. Nothing would have the power to hurt you again. I mean that. Nothing. It's like when you throw black paint in the air remains uncontaminated. You never color the air black. No matter what happens to you, you remain uncontaminated. You remain at peace. There are human beings who have attained this, what I call a human being. Not this nonsense of being a puppet, jerked about this way and that way, letting events or other people tell you how to feel. So you proceed to feel it, and you call it being vulnerable. Ha! I call it being a puppet. So you want to be a puppet? Press a button and you're down. Do you like that? But if you refuse to identify with any of those labels, most of your worries cease. Later we'll talk about fear of disease and death, but ordinarily you're worried about what's going to happen to your career. A small-time businessman, 55 years old, is sipping beer at a bar somewhere and he's saying, well, look at my classmates. They've really made it. The idiot. What does he mean they made it? They've got their names in the newspaper? Do you call that making it? One is president of the corporation. The other has become chief justice. Somebody else has become this or that. Monkeys. All of them. Who determines what it means to be a success? This stupid society. The main preoccupation of society is to keep society sick. And the sooner you realize that, the better. Sick. Every one of them. They are loomy. They are crazy. You became president of the lunatic asylum and you're proud of it, even though it means nothing. Being president of a corporation has nothing to do with being a success in life. Having a lot of money has nothing to do with being a success in life. You're a success in life when you wake up. Then you don't have to apologize to anyone. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. You don't give a damn what anybody thinks about you and what anybody says about you. You have no worries. You're happy. That's what I call being a success. Having a good job or being famous or having a great reputation has absolutely nothing to do with happiness or success. Nothing. It is totally irrelevant. All he's really worried about is what his children will think about him, what the neighbors will think about him, what his wife will think about him. He should have become famous. Our society and culture drill that into our heads day and night. People who made it. Made what? Made asses of themselves because they drained all their energy getting something that was worthless. They're frightened and confused. They are puppets like the rest of us. Look at them, straining across the stage. Look how upset they get if they have to a stain on their shirt. Do you call that a success? Look at how frightened they are at the prospect they might not be reelected. Do you call that a success? They are controlled, so manipulated. They are unhappy people. They are miserable people. They don't enjoy life. They are constantly tense and anxious. Do you call that human? Do you know why that happens? Only one reason. They've identified with some label. They identified the I with their money or their job or their profession. That was their error. Did you hear about the lawyer who was presented with the plumber's bill? He said to the plumber, hey, you're charging me $200 an hour. I don't make that kind of money as a lawyer. The plumber said, I didn't make that kind of money when I was a lawyer either. You can be a plumber or a lawyer or a businessman or a priest, but that does not affect the essential I. It doesn't affect you. If I change my profession tomorrow, it's like changing my clothes. I am untouched. Are you your clothes? Are you your name? Are you your profession? Stop identifying with them. They come and go. When you really understand this, no criticism can affect you. No flattery or praise can affect you either. When someone says, you're a great guy, what is he talking about? He's talking about the me. He is not talking about the I. I is neither great nor small. I is neither successful nor failure. It is none of these labels. These things come and go. These things depend on criteria society establishes. These things depend on your conditioning. These things depend on the mood of the person who happens to be talking to you right now. It has nothing to do with the I. I is none of these labels. Me is generally selfish, foolish, childish, a great big ass. So when you say you're an ass, I've known it for years. The conditioned self. What did you expect? I've known it for years. Why do you identify with him? Silly. That isn't I, that's me. Do you want to be happy? Uninterrupted happiness is uncaused. True happiness is uncaused. You cannot make me happy. You are not my happiness. You say to the awakened person, why are you happy? And the awakened person replies, why not? Happiness is our natural state. Happiness is the natural state of little children to whom the kingdom belongs until they have been polluted and contaminated by the stupidity of society and culture. To acquire happiness, you don't have to do anything because happiness cannot be acquired. Does anybody know why? Because we already have it. How can you acquire what you already have? Then why don't you experience it? Because you've got to drop something. You've got to drop the illusions. You don't have to add anything in order to be happy. You've got to drop something. Life is easy. Life is delightful. It's only hard on your illusions, your ambitions, your greed, your cravings. Do you know where these things come from? From having identified with all the kinds of labels. Chapter 25 is 4 Steps to Wisdom. The first thing you need to do is get in touch with negative feelings that you're not even aware of. Lots of people have negative feelings they're not aware of. Lots of people are depressed and they're not aware they are depressed. It's only when you make contact with joy that they understand how depressed they were. You can't deal with a cancer that you haven't detected. You can't get rid of boll weevils on your farm if you're not aware of their existence. The first thing you need is awareness of your negative feelings. What negative feelings? Gloominess, for instance. You're feeling gloomy and moody. You feel self-hatred or guilt. You feel that life is pointless, that it makes no sense. You've got hurt feelings. You're feeling nervous and tense. Get in touch with those feelings first. The second step, this is a 4-step program, is to understand that the feeling is in you, not in reality. That's such a self-evident thing, but do you think people know it? They don't, believe me. They've got PhDs and are presidents of universities, but they haven't understood this. They didn't teach me how to live at school. They taught me everything else. As one man said, I got a pretty good education. It took me years to get over it. That's what spirituality is all about. Unlearning. Unlearning all the rubbish they taught you. Negative feelings are in you, not in reality. So stop trying to change reality. That's crazy. Stop trying to change the other person. We spend all our time and energy trying to change external circumstances, trying to change our spouses, our bosses, our friends, our enemies, and everybody else. We don't have to change anything. Negative feelings are in you. No person on earth has the power to make you unhappy. There is no event on earth that has the power to disturb you or hurt you. No event, condition, situation, or person. Nobody told you this. They told you the opposite. That's why you're in the mess that you're in right now. That's why you're asleep. They never told you this, but it's self-evident. Let's suppose that rain washes out a picnic. Who is feeling negative? The rain or you? What's causing the negative feeling? The rain or your reaction? When you bump your knee against a table, the table's fine. It's busy being what it was made to be, a table. The pain is in your knee, not in the table. The mystics keep trying to tell us that reality is all right. Reality is not problematic. Problems exist only in the human mind. We might add, in the stupid sleeping human mind. Reality is not problematic. Take away human beings from this planet and life would go on. Nature would go on in all its loveliness and violence. Where would the problem be? No problem. You created the problem. You are the problem. You identified with me, and that is the problem. The feeling is in you, not in reality. The third step, never identify with that feeling. It has nothing to do with the I. Don't define your essential self in terms of that feeling. Don't say, I am depressed. If you want to say it is depressed, that's all right. If you want to say depression is there, that's fine. If you want to say gloominess is there, that's fine. But not I am gloomy. You're defining yourself in terms of the feeling. That's your illusion. That's your mistake. There is a depression there right now. There are hurt feelings there right now. But let it be. Leave it alone. It will pass. Everything passes. Everything. Your depressions and your thrills have nothing to do with your happiness. Those are the swings of the pendulum. If you seek kicks or thrills, get ready for depression. Do you want your drug? Get ready for the hangover. One end of the pendulum swings to the other. This has nothing to do with the I. It has nothing to do with happiness. It is the me. If you remember this, if you say it to yourself 1,000 times, if you try these 3 steps 1,000 times, you will get it. You might not need to even do it 3 times. I don't know. There's no rule for it. But do it 1,000 times and you'll make the biggest discovery in your life. To hell with those gold mines in Alaska. What are you going to do with that gold? If you're not happy, you can't live. So you found gold. What does that matter? You're a king. You're a princess. You're free. You don't care anymore about being accepted or rejected. That makes no difference. Psychologists tell us how important it is to get a sense of belonging. Baloney. Why do you want to belong to anybody? It doesn't matter anymore. A friend of mine told me that there's an African tribe where capital punishment consists of being ostracized. If you're kicked out of New York or wherever you're residing, you wouldn't die. How is it that the African tribesman died? Because he partakes of the common stupidity of humanity. He thinks he will not be able to live if he does not belong. It is very different from most people. Or is it? He's convinced he needs to belong. But you don't need to belong to anybody or anything or any group. You don't even need to be in love. Who told you you do? What you need is to be free. What you need is to love. That's it. That's your nature. But what you're really telling me is that you want to be desired. You want to be applauded, to be attractive, to have all the little monkeys running after you. You're wasting your life. Wake up. You don't need this. You can be blissfully happy without it. Your society is not going to be happy to hear this because you become terrifying when you open your eyes and understand this. How do you control a person like this? He doesn't need you. He's not threatened by your criticism. He doesn't care what you think of him or what you say about him. He's cut all those strings. He's not a puppet any longer. It's terrifying. So we've got to get rid of him. He tells the truth. He has become fearless. He has stopped being human. Human, behold. A human being at last. He broke out of his slavery, broke out of their prison. No event justifies a negative feeling. There is no situation in the world that justifies a negative feeling. That's what all our mystics have been crying themselves hoarse to tell us, but nobody listens. The negative feeling is in you. In the Bhagavad Gita, the sacred book of the Hindus, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, "Plunge into the heart of battle and keep your heart at the lotus feet of the Lord." A marvelous sentence. You don't have to do anything to acquire happiness. The great Meister Eckhart said very beautifully, God is not attained by a process of addition to anything in the soul, but a process of subtraction. You don't do anything to be free. You drop something, then you're free. It reminds me of the Irish prisoner who dug a tunnel under the prison's wall and managed to escape. He comes out right in the middle of a school playground where little children are playing. Of course, when he emerges from the tunnel, he can't restrain himself anymore and begins to jump up and down, crying, "I'm free, I'm free, I'm free." A little girl there looks at him scornfully and says, "That's nothing, I'm 4. The 4th step, how do you change things? How do you change yourselves? There are many things you must understand here, or rather just one thing that can be expressed in many ways. Imagine a patient who goes to a doctor and tells him what he is suffering from. The doctor says, "Very well, I've understood your symptoms. Do you know what I will do? I will prescribe a medicine for your neighbor." The patient replies, "Thank you very much, doctor. That makes me feel much better." Isn't that absurd? But that's what we all do. The person who is asleep always thinks he'll feel better if somebody else changes. You're suffering because you are asleep, but you're thinking how wonderful life would be if somebody else would change. How wonderful life would be if my neighbor changed, my wife changed, my boss changed. We always want something else to change so that we will feel good. But has it ever struck you that even if your wife changes or your husband changes, what does that do to you? You're just as vulnerable as before. You're just as idiotic as before. You're just as asleep as before. You are the one who needs to change, who needs to take the medicine. You keep insisting, "I feel good because the world is right." Wrong. The world is right because I feel good. That's what all the mystics are saying. Chapter 26. All's right with the world. When you awaken, when you understand, when you see, the world becomes right. We're always bothered by the problem of evil. There's a powerful story about a little boy walking along the bank of a river. He sees a crocodile who is trapped in a net. The crocodile says, "Would you have pity on me and release me? I may look ugly, but it isn't my fault, you know. I was made this way. But whatever my external appearance, I have a mother's heart. I came this morning in search of food for my young ones and got caught in this trap." So the boy says, "Ah, if I were to help you out of the trap, you'd grab me and kill me." The crocodile asks, "Do you think I would do that to my benefactor, my liberator?" So the boy is persuaded to take the net off, and the crocodile grabs him. As he is being forced between the jaws of the crocodile, he says, "So this is what I get for my good actions." And the crocodile says, "Well, don't take it personally, son. This is the way the world is. This is the law of life." The boy disputes this, so the crocodile says, "Do you want to ask someone if it isn't so?" The boy sees a bird sitting on a branch and says, "Bird, is what the crocodile says right?" The bird says, "The crocodile is right. Look at me. I was coming home one day with food for my fledglings. Imagine my horror to see a snake crawling up the tree and making straight for my nest. I was totally helpless. It kept devouring my young ones, one after the other. I kept screaming and shouting, but it was useless. The crocodile is right. This is the law of the life. This is the way the world is." "See," says the crocodile. But the boy says, "Let me ask someone else." So the crocodile says, "Well, all right, go ahead." There was an old donkey passing by on the bank of the river. "Donkey," says the boy, "this is what the crocodile says. Is this crocodile right?" The donkey says, "The crocodile is quite right. Look at me. I've worked and slaved for my master all my life, and he barely gave me enough to eat. Now that I'm old and useless, he has turned me loose, and here I am wandering in the jungle, waiting for some wild beast to pounce on me and put an end to my life. The crocodile is right. This is the law of life. This is the way the world is." "See," says the crocodile, "let's go." The boy says, "Give me one more chance, one last chance. Let me ask one other being. Remember how good I was to you?" So the crocodile says, "All right, your last chance." The boy sees a rabbit passing by, and he says, "Rabbit, is the crocodile right?" The rabbit sits on his haunches and says to the crocodile, "Did you say that to that boy?" The crocodile says, "Yes, I did." "Wait a minute," says the rabbit. "We've got to discuss this." "Yes," says the crocodile. But the rabbit says, "How can we discuss it when you've got that boy in your mouth? Release him. He's got to take part in the discussion, too." The crocodile says, "You're a clever one, you are. The moment I release him, he'll run away." The rabbit says, "I thought you had more sense than that. If he attempted to run away, one slash of your tail would kill him." "Fair enough," says the crocodile. And he released the boy. The moment the boy is released, the rabbit says, "Run!" And the boy runs and escapes. Then the rabbit says to the boy, "Don't you enjoy crocodile flesh? Wouldn't the people in your village like a good meal? You didn't really release the crocodile. Most of his body is still caught in that net. Why don't you go to the village and bring everybody and have a banquet?" That's exactly what the boy does. He goes to the village, calls all the men folk. They come with their axes and staves and spears and kill the crocodile. The boy's dog comes too. And when the dog sees the rabbit, he gives chase, catches a hold of the rabbit, and throttles him. The boy comes on the scene too late, and as he watches the rabbit die, he says, "The crocodile is right. This is the way the world is. This is the law of life." There is no explanation you can give that would explain away all the sufferings and evil and torture and destruction and hunger in the world. You'll never explain it. You can try gamely with your formulas, religious and otherwise, but you'll never explain it, because life is a mystery, which means your thinking mind cannot make sense out of it. For that, you've got to wake up, and then you'll suddenly realize that reality is not problematic. You are the problem. That concludes our readings for today. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed these readings, please share them with some of your friends. I really appreciate it. I'll put a link for the book. I do get commissions off of that. So if you're interested in actually getting the physical book of Awareness by Anthony De Mello, please click the link in my description and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.